Good afternoon, I'm Abe.
And I'm Frank. And this evening, we're adumbrating the second half of Chapter 17, Manifest Destiny and Its Legacy. And I think I'll start us off this time. Now, in the 1844 election, the Whigs ran Henry Clay against the Democrat James K. Polk. Polk was portrayed as an Andrew Jackson reboot, and was in fact a close friend of Jackson. Polk advocated for manifest destiny, the idea that it was America's destiny to spread its people and ideas across the entire continent, creating an empire of liberty. He advocated seizing land in Oregon, exemplified through the slogan 5440 or fight. On the other hand, Clay pulled a Mitt Romney and flip-flopped on the issue of Texas annexation, first saying he favored annexing slave-owning Texas, then saying he favored postponement of annexation. This contradictory outlook lost him the vote of the Liberty Party in New York, who controlled a crucial 16,000 votes. As a result, Polk won out, making Clay lose his third bid for president. But tell me, Abe, can you extrapolate on what Polk did once he got inside the Oval Office?
Yes, President Polk developed and then successfully enacted a 4-point program. His first goal, number 1, was a decreased tariff. The Walker Tariff Bill was passed, which lowered tariff rates from 32% to 25%. Even though it lowered rates, the Walker Tariff produced great revenue since it was followed by booming times of heavy imports. Polk's second goal was to restore the bank, or the independent treasury. His third goal was to annex California, and his fourth was to settle the Oregon dispute. So to do this, Polk offered the 49th parallel compromise to the British, but it was rejected. However, the British came to realize that the Oregon Territory wasn't actually all that important. The Columbia River was just not as viable as the St. Lawrence, and turbulent Americans might end up seizing the Oregon Territory anyways. So the British put their minds together and ingeniously forged another compromise. Why don't we offer them the 49th parallel? As revolutionary as this was, the American senators still speedily accepted it. But the northwestern states, fused with manifest destiny ideals, were not pleased and wondered why all of Texas, but not all of Oregon. But Polk was successful in that he entirely avoided violence in all of these conflicts. So, Frank, how did Polk eventually come to claim California?
Well, he tried in several different ways. Polk desired expansion into California, especially desiring the frankly magnificent Bay of San Francisco. America wanted to buy California, but this was tough due to friction between the US and Mexico, mainly due to Mexico's default on $3 million worth of debt. Additionally, a border dispute was arising as to whether the Mexico-Texas border was on the Rio Grande or the Nueces River. Polk then resorted to the tried and true method of sending an envoy, in this case James Slidell, to Mexico City with $25 million to buy California and as much else as he could. The Mexican government instantly turned him down. So Abe, how did matters continue? How did America attempt to gain this land?
Polk ordered General Zachary Taylor to march from the Nueces River to the Rio Grande with 4,000 men. When there was no retaliation from the Mexicans, Polk proposed war with Mexico because of 2 reasons. 1, unpaid claims, and 2, since Mexico completely rejected Slidell's compromises. Nevertheless, the Mexicans eventually did attack. 16 Americans were killed, and Congress declared war. But when Polk spoke to Congress, he tended to bend the truth a little bit. So Abe Lincoln introduced the spot resolutions, which questioned Polk's justification for the Mexican War. However, Polk cannot be blamed entirely for provoking the Mexican War. He wanted to secure California, and haste was necessary, since the British could have seized it any time. The Mexicans also provoked the war in that they boasted of invading the US and freeing the slaves. The Mexicans hoped to no avail that the British-American conflict would erupt into a war which would weaken the Americans. Overall, most American citizens generally believed that Mexico was the true aggressor. So Frank, how did the Mexican War continue?
Well, Polk allowed Santa Anna back into Mexico, hoping Anna would negotiate peace. Instead, Anna rallied for war. The American campaign in California was incredibly successful. In a matter of days, the Mexican rule was overthrown and the California Bear Flag Republic was created. General Zachary Taylor smashed into Mexico itself, fighting off 20,000 Mexicans with a force of only 5,000 men at the Battle of Buena Vista, while General Winfield Scott marched his men straight to the heart of the country, its capital of Mexico City. But Abe, can you tell me how the battle for Mexico and the war with Mexico finally wound down?
No. Just kidding. Polk sent Nicholas Trist to help negotiate an armistice with Santa Anna. Trist eventually signed the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which gave U.S. control of Texas and the California-Oregon region, which was about half of Mexico, at the cost of about $18 million. Speed was crucial here, since the conscience Whigs, or the anti-slavery Whigs, were constantly denouncing the Mexican War and threatened to vote down the army supplies to the war. Furthermore, some expansionists wanted all of Mexico. Gaining so much territory would have introduced severe policing issues for the U.S. government. But the treaty was approved in Senate, even though both those who wanted all of Mexico and those who wanted none of it condemned the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. So Frank, could you tell us more about the effects of the Mexican War?
Of course I can. In total, the war claimed 13,000 American lives, and of those lives lost, most were due to disease. It also gave experience to Civil War generals like Robert Lee and Ulysses S. Grant. It showed that America could conduct a war with military prowess, increasing America's respect on the international stage. Unfortunately, it also raised the issue of whether the new territory gained during the war should be slave or free. This issue was resolved in the Wilmont Proviso, which suggested that the land received in the Mexican cession should never become slave states. Though it never became federal law, it raised the controversial question of the future of the newly acquired territory. In fact, the Civil War can trace many roots back to the contentious issues raised at the end of the Mexican War, a concept known as Santa Anna's Revenge. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.
And comment down below if you have any questions. We'll catch you guys next time.